Welcome back, everyone. I'm in this brand new McLaren jumper that you've never seen on this show before. We had an kind of eventful Monaco Grand Prix. We slagged it off quite a lot on this podcast, so stay around to see what our thoughts are. Make sure you are following us on social media. The links are in the description. And if you're more of an audio listener, get on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. The links are in the description if you don't want to see our mugs. We're going to crack on.
All right, guys, welcome along. Episode 12 already. And like Luke said, this Monaco Grand Prix was actually quite better. Quite better. A lot better than I was anticipating. However, there's only one thing that made it better, and that was rain. So we are going to get onto that. But Luke, how are you? You had a nice weekend?
Yeah, so I'm going to need quite a bit of filling in. So I watched Q3 and I watched the race. I have been in Paris for the Champions League final, which obviously Theo took me to. So yeah, I've obviously looked at everything. I've been following everything, but I've been very busy.
Did you enjoy it? Obviously not the result, but was it a
no,
great
that's
experience?
the thing. Yeah. No, 100%. And you know, a lot of talk has been going on about the fans and stuff.
Did you witness any of that?
There were fans climbing in, right? But what it was they fully just shut the gates and weren't letting people in. It was like 15 minutes before kickoff, no announcement that it was being delayed. So there are fans that are turning up that have paid thousands to be there. And then all they're thinking is, wow, what the fuck? Like, I'm not getting in.
Were you in at this point? Or...
No. We got in literally 10 minutes before kickoff.
Really?
Yeah. And then it got delayed. But like, we had no idea it was being delayed. It was they fully just shut the gates and weren't letting people in. So it was touch and go. And there
you didn't get tear gassed at all?
No, but there was tear gas going about. People were. We spoke to a couple of fans that we met, and they had been tear gassed earlier on for no reason whatsoever. He said they all got penned in by the police. The police wouldn't let them go anywhere, and then just unleashed tear gas on them.
Mental, isn't it?
Yeah, but football and Formula One are different sports.
I was literally just about to say, this isn't a football podcast. This is a Formula One podcast. So yes,
well,
welcome
it is
along.
good. It is good to catch up on our weeks. What have you done?
Not a lot, as you know. I've got 2 horses now. This is how my life is. Our life is very different, isn't it? Yours, jet set into Paris. Me,
well,
I'm shit shoveling.
Yeah, but scrubbing the ponies. I mean,
sounds a bit wrong when you say that, but
yeah, it does a bit actually. Doesn't it?
Feed the ponies.
But anyway,
it was nice. It was a nice weekend. But anyway, we're back. So let's talk about Monaco. Practice. I think our predictions were well off from last week because we said that Mercedes were going to come back strong, especially how they looked in Spain. But practice looked pretty poor. People who looked strong, though, Perez looked strong all weekend.
Yeah.
Ferrari looked strong all weekend. Sainz, Leclerc. Verstappen wasn't really in that top 3 at all. He struggled.
He didn't look like his normal electrifying self. I mean, look, I've said it and I hate to say it, but every week I watch Verstappen, I think, man, you're just so quick, like uncatchable.
Yeah.
But this week, he did seem off the pace. Like he just wasn't, I don't know whether it was him and the car or the new car on the new car on the track. But yeah, it didn't seem to be clicking for him.
It's quite quiet. He went under the radar. Not much was spoken about him.
And let's be honest, he still did the business.
Still got there.
Got a podium, did what he needed to do. Like, I'm not slandering him at all. Just thought he didn't look like the man that he normally does.
No. But no, in practice, you really saw the likes of, Ferrari, Red Bull looking really strong. Norris looked good as well all weekend. He performed in practice.
I'm quite annoyed because obviously my shock driver of the week last week was Danny Rick. Now, I feel like had I said Lando, I actually probably would have taken that as a W.
Yeah, I think that would have been more valid.
Because I think he was quality.
Yeah, no, he was good.
And
he
in
was
the race,
good all weekend.
He just kept his head down, did what he needed to do.
But he was like that last year. He got a podium last year. He just knuckled down. He got on with the job, and he comes out with some great points for the team.
Yeah. I agree.
Let's jump onto qualifying because not much happened in practice. That was basically it. However, qualifying was quite interesting. I want to start off by talking about our favourite man of the show. Can you guess who we're going to talk about?
Big Nick.
Big Nick. There was a quote, and I don't know if you've seen this. Williams actually turned around to Latifi and said, "Follow Albon. You might be able to learn a couple of things."
What, over the radio?
Over the radio.
Have we got a clip of this?
There is. I don't know. You'd have to have a look, but it's something which. Let me see if while you're continuing talking. Let me see if I can actually.
The thing is, right, is teams know that the radio it's out there to the public. I mean, you see. Have you heard of this website called Reddit?
Oh no, what goes on there?
It's just like a little forum stuff, and people post stuff about F1.
Oh, okay, is it good?
But yeah, it's quite good actually. They I always see on there radio snippets of like things that weren't broadcast in the race even. So the fact that teams know it's so public and the radio messages do get like we can get hold of them, that shocks me. Look, as much as we do. We give him such a hard time on this show.
We are pretty harsh to him.
Yeah.
Should I see if I can play this? Let me see.
Well, what we'll do is we're going to play it for all of you guys right now.
Green, try to follow Alex. You can probably learn from him.
What are your thoughts? I don't know. Like,
it does make me laugh, and
that is brutal. Comment down below. How do you think Latifi has taken this, and do you think the team are right to do so, or is it unprofessional?
That's massively unprofessional.
I think so, personally.
You can't. It's like okay, it's so bad. It's like saying to Perez, okay, you go and follow Max, you see what he does, and just try and copy him. You wouldn't do it, would you?
That's like the ultimate disrespect to a professional, and we've said on here many, many times. All 20 of those drivers are professional drivers.
They're talented.
Yeah, they're all quality drivers. There's just, some are better than others.
It didn't make any sense to me. Actually, it was laughable because as a driver...
Do we know who said it?
One of the engineers, I think.
Oh, okay.
He was coming out of the pit lane and he got said, but I was listening to it and I was like, this has got to be a joke. You remember that guy who was at, I can't remember what track, where he got close to the mic and he went, meow, meow. I thought it must be someone like this, but no, it was actually true. Did
Latifi respond? Is there any like...
Yeah, he was like, okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah.
He was like, yeah.
I would have pulled over the car, walked back to that garage and started throwing hands.
I would have taken the front wing off, taken that back, smacked it around the engineer's face.
Mate, you can't be getting spoken to like that, Latifi. That is, we're allowed to sit here and talk smack because we have no idea what we're talking about. We're just two idiots speaking to a camera. You can't have your boys speaking to you like that. No. Do you know what I mean?
It's insulting. It's insulting.
But I'm Team Latifi on that. The team can't do that in public.
It's not many times we agree that actually Latifi is in the wrong here, or in the right here.
You are obviously, you do majority of the work on social media. For us.
Yeah.
You were giving him a hard time this weekend. I was at every other post. I was like, oh shit, he's slandering him again. He's
talking about the one with my face going, shocked. Latifi's crash.
Everything. There was tweets going out about him. I was like, fuck, you really don't like him.
No, it's not that I don't like him.
It seems personal now.
No, because I think you guys who are watching and listening at home have kind of got on the bandwagon now, because whenever something happens to Latifi, I get DMs from people going, oh, yeah, Racecast are going to love this.
I get tweets as well, like saying, because, I mean, and I'm sure we'll touch on the race, but like that incident.
Yeah, we'll save that for later, because that is a clip in its own. But no, I even get tagged in like TikTok now about like random, Latifi clips. It's not just us who are talking about it. It's you guys, at home. So I blame you guys for why he's talked so much smack about on this show. FIA were, let's just say,
taking the piss
a bit questionable this weekend. And before we get onto the race and talk about their decisions, they threw a red flag right in qualifying. I think it was Q1, Q2 for Tsunoda. He didn't go off the track. He hit his wing, okay? They threw out a red flag for it. And next thing you know, Tsunoda's back in the garage.
So obviously I haven't watched this, so I don't. But that's news to me. That is.
Was,
I knew they took the piss. I thought they took the piss in the race.
No. This went back to... There was 2 red flags in practice and qualifying, which were questionable.
Was there a red flag when someone just drove back into the pits in practice?
Yeah. So there's a red... I can't remember too much about the practice one, but the qualifying one was Tsunoda.
Was the practice one to do with the Haas, maybe?
Yes, it was, I believe. Yeah. So I was just a bit confused with what their logic was with it.
Because I thought last season they threw out way too many red flags.
Yeah.
Way too many. They were trigger happy with them, and I appreciate the circumstances around why they get put out, but I think, come on, let's try and keep everything flowing.
Do you think they just realise they actually get commission for the amount of red flags they show, and they go, shit? You know, it's kind of like your driving test. You've got to fail a certain amount of people.
No, it's in their Accuse. They've got like 2 red flags during quali, so they're like, shit, boys, we've got to get one in. So they just throw in a sneaky red flag. Everyone's like, what is going on?
20-1, yeah.
I just think that, like I say, I only saw Q3, so I didn't see that red flag. But I thought because they threw out a red flag in the race.
Yeah, for Schumacher.
Yeah.
Which was rightly so.
Was it?
We'll get on to that in a minute.
Yeah.
I kind of agreed with that in that sense. Let's just finish on recapping of qualifying if you guys didn't watch at home. So, yeah, that red flag, I didn't really understand it. Both Haas out in Q2. That was actually quite a shock. I thought Magnussen was actually potentially going to get into Q3. Ricciardo, McLaren... I'm going to save Ricciardo because we've got a whole clip later on I want to discuss. I know I really want to go into depth with it. Not because we're Ricciardo haters, but I really want to get your point. And we've actually got some good comments, haven't we, already from the clips we posted today. Yeah. Vettel into Q3. Amazing performance from him this weekend.
He is... we spoke about him earlier on in the season, like, you know, has his hunger gone? Has his desire gone? I think he's showing that that Aston Martin... Well, I don't think it looks very great to drive. It doesn't seem overly quick.
He's galvanizing this team. He's really starting to bring it back, which is great. And you know, like we say, Vettel is a legend. In this sport, and it's so good to see that he is still getting it and getting the most out of the car. I love it.
I love it when he outperforms Stroll.
Which is every race, pretty much. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But, like, you know, things you just love to see.
Yeah.
And that is one of them.
Alpines back in it this weekend. Both cars into Q3. Ocon, Alonso, very good performances.
And I mean, moving on to the race, we're going to have even more to talk about then.
Yeah, it's not... Alonso, I like you, but you're a bit of a twat yesterday. I'm not going to lie. Perez crash. I don't know what it is about qualifying and red flags, or, you know, for stoppage... in the final part of Q3, because last year Leclerc was on pole and then crashed. Max was on a flying lap, looked good to get pole. Leclerc crashed, red flag. This week it was Leclerc was on pole again. I don't think anyone was going to beat his time because it was actually a solid time.
Yeah.
However, you know, Perez was on a flying lap, decided to literally spin.
Sainz was on a flying lap as well. Well, all of them were on the flying laps. Perez decides to go round. Spin, smashed the back of his car. Sainz, for some reason, was like, I'm going to ignore that yellow flag and just spin and take out Perez as well. And then Max comes round, fuck's sake, man, why is this every fucking race? You know, like, that's not how he speaks, but... Well, this is a fairly good impression.
Thank you very much, thank you.
But, yeah, no, I thought that was going to put them in trouble for the race. Not going to lie. Sainz took a new gearbox.
He did, but he didn't have to get a penalty.
Why?
Because there was only certain parts of the gearbox. It wasn't a full, as far as I know, from what I've read.
Because
I may be completely wrong, but...
Obviously, last season, the issue was they didn't want to replace Charles's gearbox because then he would have had to start from the pits. So they didn't change his gearbox, and then his car died on the formation lap. So that's why I thought... Because obviously Max pulled up, and I was like, fuck, this could have played right into Max's hand.
Yeah.
Because Perez's hit looked a lot heavier than...
It was quite a nasty spin. But what looked worse was where Sainz came round. I thought he was going to get a penalty after, in all honesty, because I thought if a car's coming round... Well, you know what it's like. If a car's still coming round and manages to spin and hit the car, even though he crashed, you know, probably like 10 seconds before.
Yeah. Well,
You would think to yourself, okay, is it, stewards not actually getting the flags out properly, or is it signs literally just going, I'm going to ignore that and then fly around that corner? Oh shit, there's Perez.
All I'm going to say for now is the I don't know what you call it, the punishment system this week.
Questionable.
Terrible,
Yeah.
I think, would be more accurate.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you on that. Just finishing on qualifying, Leclerc, outrageous lap. He looks solid.
It's strange because you see him drive around there. I mean, last year he took that car around there, and it was nowhere near the quickest car. Like, let's be honest.
But he was a solid lap last year. He did. To actually even get anywhere near that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He drives around that like he grew up there, and I know he did. But I'm saying, like, you can almost tell that he grew up there.
He literally knows the sweet points. He's
it's like
solid.
it's like you can see that in his childhood and like growing up.
Yeah.
He was like working it all out. He was working out how to take this corner a little bit quicker, and I mean, his curse continues.
I love though the shots of inside the cockpit yesterday, and you see where Leclerc's sitting. He's got like the map literally down by the side. I'm thinking, do you know what? Okay, I know it's going to be a bit of a silly question. You're an F1 driver, okay? You're in the cockpit. What information do you want to have around you? What would you feel would be necessary? I know it sounds a bit of a silly question, but what would you feel is necessary? What would you want to have? Would you want a picture of your cat? Ruth. What would you want?
Honestly, nothing.
Really?
Why?
I don't know. I was kind of like looking into Leclerc's.
Are you thinking of like Top Gun, where they've all got like pictures of their like families in the cockpit with them? No,
but it looked quite cozy. You're sitting in there, and especially if you're waiting for ages.
Why would you have a map there, by the way?
Because he can just work out the corner. I don't know. It was literally just all the corners of where you're going.
I mean, if he's learning the track, then
no, you're a bit worried.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked it, and I was just thinking, what else would you want to put in there? If you were sitting there, and if you're sitting there for ages because of a red flag or whatever,
What I don't know. Do you want to stick a Game Boy in there or a Nintendo Switch?
No, I'm just thinking you get a bit of Sudoku out or something and just
start doing the daily crossword or something.
The Daily Mail. Oh, what's in here this week? But no, it just made me laugh. Probably a silly question, but comment down below if you actually did like that question and let me know what you'd have in there.
And
do you have pictures of your family?
Sorry, it looks like I'm just on my phone right now, but I am trying to find something about the FIA that I read earlier.
Okay.
So, but carry on.
Carry on.
I am engaged.
Okay.
I just didn't want if the camera had gone on to me and people are like, he's not even looking.
He's not even looking. He ignores me.
I'm looking for something.
Right, let's get to the race.
And I found it, by the way.
Do you want to touch on that now? Or?
No, let's get to the race because
so
it is to do with the race. So we will cover everything to do with the race because there's quite a lot to talk about. It was
interesting. So they was expecting rain quite early in the morning. It didn't happen. A lot of people, I think, engineers were like, "Oh, rain's not going to come." They said it would be behind the mountains. It won't hit the track. Got to 10 to 3 or 10 to 2 our time, and it was like, oh, it's starting to spit now. Okay, 5-2. Okay, it's raining a bit. They could probably start the race on inters. Okay, got to 3 o'clock. Oh, delayed until 9 minutes past 3. Okay, 2, sorry. And I was thinking to myself, why are we delaying this? This is just poor. One of the commentators, I think it was Brundle, said, oh yeah, apparently what they're saying is that, they haven't tested the wet tyres on this track. There's loads of races you don't test wet runs on tracks.
And I'm sorry, if you're a company that is providing these state-of-the-art tyres to the highest level of motor racing sport on the entire planet, and your tyres need to be tested on there before to prove that they're good enough, as if all the tests should have been conducted by Pirelli.
There's no point bringing them if you know they're not going to be good enough to use.
Yeah, they should. It shouldn't be a question of oh, do these work? It should be here are the tyres, they work.
Yeah.
I found it mental that they didn't start a race because it was raining.
But what I found even madder was if they had started at 2 o'clock, okay, they would have potentially got 5-10 minutes worth of racing. They may have had to come in for wets. They may have to red flag it because it's too wet, for example. But you've had to start to race because strategies might have changed. People might have overtaken. What it kind of felt like was they were like, oh, it's a bit unsafe, and what we don't want to do is cause too much trouble to the grid. So what we do, we just wait until it basically dries out, and then we just have a dry race. Well, no, like that's not what we wanted.
And then they let the rain like clear up a bit, and then they did a rolling start.
Monaco can be boring enough as it is. You don't need to take away all the fun.
Yeah, it's like they were. They're just. Is it like being overprotective of the drivers? It's a bit like, man, I'm sure they just want to get out there and race. Monaco in the wet, they'll probably have a riot out there.
Max came, he was like, why aren't we racing, man? Like, why aren't we just going? Why aren't we just getting on? I love the fact that people go in on Instagram, where bring back Massey. I was like...
I was speaking to one of my mates who hates Michael Massey. And like I spoke to him today, he was like, fuck me, these lot are worse than Massey. And it's true, like, fair enough, okay, right. The controversies, at least he always tried to get them racing.
Yeah. So
this was just taking the piss. Like, doing that, the rolling start.
They did like...
Made no sense to me. And then they did a rolling start after the red flag later on.
Yeah. So, just to recap, if you didn't watch it at all. So, they started behind the safety car. After 2 laps, they came in, it was red flagged because it was pouring down. By that time, you've already missed your perfect opportunity to get the race underway. Like, it was wasted by that point.
Yeah.
I understand what they're trying to do. There's a higher chance of crashes because it's a tighter track. I get it. But isn't the whole point of Formula One about racing? It's about
high risk racing.
High risk racing. You know, if you're going to take all that risk away, then you may as well just put them in bubble wrap. You know.
Yeah. Let's also be real, right? If there was to have been a crash, it would have been very low speed,
and it would have been red flagged as well. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, they wouldn't have been going fast enough to have a horrible crash. And let's not forget, these drivers get in these seats weekly, low-key probably expecting to crash. Nobody wants to crash, but that's going to always be there. They're like, I'm putting myself at risk here, but that's the price they pay for being at the highest level, and it is just part of the sport.
It just didn't make any sense to me. I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, why have we had no racing? So I think it was like, I can't remember what time it started. They started the clock after the red flag, and it was like 2:45 they started racing.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember what time they actually started.
No, it took the piss.
But they started the race, and like you say, it was a rolling start. So they went round. For you guys who don't know what that is, they go round with a safety car. The safety car comes in, and it's basically just like if a safety car comes in after a safety car being out on track anyway, they'll come into the pits, but just before the corner.
Essentially making the least overtakey track even less overtakey, because where the action happens is when they pull off the grid. Who's got a better start? That's your opportunity to make up places, other than when the pit strategy things open.
I did see a tweet, and this did make me laugh. They tagged me in a tweet, and they said, right, I'm and this was like, I'm effing livid. What I was hoping for is that they're all going. I'm not going to swear.
Right.
I was fucking livid. Okay,
we do swear on this podcast.
Yeah. And it said, I'm fucking livid. What I was hoping for is they would start normally. They'd all crash into the first corner. Latifi would go and get, and then Latifi would get his first points of the season. I was like, no.
Oh, that would have been nice. But in my opinion, the FIA had a shocking weekend.
They had a shocker.
Can we talk about the other things? I think let's do this in one bit, because there were parts of the race where I think both Red Bulls were coming out the pits, and they
went over the line.
They went over the yellow line, which is Stroll got a penalty for it a few races ago. Now there was a good tweet. This is the tweet I was looking for from Crofty. So my understanding is that whilst the event notes say drivers must keep to the right of the line, the FIA Sporting Code states drivers must not cross the line. So the Ferrari protests got dismissed. But
So for you guys who don't know, the reason Ferrari protested because they felt the Red Bulls went over the line on their pit exit. From what you're saying there, it's deemed acceptable to a certain. It doesn't make sense.
Why, after last season, do we still have these bullshit, wishy-washy, sort of easy to manipulate statements in the rules where it's like, oh, well, it could mean this. No,
It's got to be clear cut.
Yeah, it needs to be black and white. You
Yeah.
can't have drivers must not cross the line. Well, what's crossing the line? Like, I mean,
Is it 2 wheels over the line? Is
yeah,
it
like
all the car
does
over
the
the
whole
line?
car? Yeah,
You
like
know,
let's be clear. Like, drivers must keep to the right of the line. That is clear cut to me, right? So that was given in the event notes. I don't know what the fuck they are, but
so the event notes, the ones that drivers get in, they have like a team briefing beforehand. So this is like a
so why would they be different?
no, but this is like track limits, for example. So are you saying that they could potentially go over the line, but have this much inside the line, like a few millimeters inside the line, but that's acceptable because they're technically not gone all outside.
Yeah,
the line.
because they're not quote unquote
There's
crossing
there's
it.
no consistency at the moment with the FIA, and this has been for the last potentially 2 or 3 years since Charlie Whiting left. It's gone downhill massively.
I mean, obviously, we had sporting terrorism last year. But it honestly doesn't seem any better this year.
But do you think, just touching on Massey, up until the last race, take away the last race of the season, okay?
I think there was a few questionable.
I know
things
Jeddah
last
was
season.
bad and that, but was it much different from what we got dealing with these clowns this year?
No, absolutely not. No, we had that's what I'm saying. This does not seem necessarily like an upgrade.
Yeah,
I don't think it's necessarily the grass is,
always greener.
or it's not always greener.
No.
Because I don't think I don't want Michael Massey back. But it's like, can we just have someone that comes in, puts their stamp on it, and sort of like makes it consistent, makes it sensible and logical, rather than
I don't.
confusing things by having like now you've got two different sort of statements that don't contradict each other, but they now make each other unclear. Well,
But the issue is there's no consistency with who you have each week because racing director is different. So
yeah, which
one week you could have one, the other one you get. You need constant consistency for the drivers, for teams. You need to have that throughout.
Yeah.
And like you say, having this like, oh yes, this is set in stone. However, if you look at Article 14.1, this states that actually 14.0 actually doesn't matter because it makes no sense.
I don't think it needs to be so complicated. They could simplify the rules massively, make them more logical, and then I think they'd be so much easier to follow because let's be honest, I mean the race directors don't create the rules as far as I'm aware. They are just following them. Well, meant to be following them. So like when you have got these things that are like, well, I don't know, like 14.2 negates 14.1, but 14.5 says it overrules. And then it's like, oh, come on.
14.9 said just ignore all the 14s.
Yeah, so it's like it would be nice to have something because they also, Alex Albon got blue flagged 16 times before he moved out the way for Charles Leclerc.
Mental, innit?
16 times, and he didn't get a penalty.
But what I don't understand though with it is I feel like the pendulum has swung to completely the other side now because last year it was kind of like, oh yeah, let them go racing. Toto, it's racing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then this year it's like, actually, we're not going to go racing because we're going to wait until everything is all nice and safe, so none of these drivers get hurt. No. You're going to lose fan engagement in this point if you keep going this way because fans want to see people race. That race should have started at 2:00 on Inters if after 2 laps it got so bad, get in for wets. That's the strategies. That's what fans want to see.
And that's what's going to get everyone engaged in that race, watching these, like, you know, these what's going to happen moment.
A
like
6-car pile-up. Yes, okay, it may not be pretty, as long as they're okay.
Yeah, let's
want
be
to see
honest,
it.
like, fans don't want to see drivers get hurt or anything, but crashing is part of the sport, and it's part of why we love it. I mean, I know, granted, the drivers are okay. I love seeing a crash. Because, you know, it's just like, wow, like, they've gone so hard that they've actually...
Yeah.
They've crashed, and they've put themselves in this position where they're willing to risk their lives to win a race or gain a position.
And it really plays into strategy.
Yeah.
Things can change. Like, for example, you know, Mick crashing yesterday. Red flags. Okay, things have changed now. They can go on different tyres. What's going to happen here? Some actually came in on hards and left after the red flag on mediums. Does that change with you know, those type of things is what we want to see.
Yeah.
And that's why we
even though I hate that rule where you can change.
Oh
the
yeah,
tyres,
no, I do. But as it's there now at the moment, we just accept it.
Yeah.
But it ruins the sport when we have to wait around. People were asking for rain. Oh, you know, if we got a really exciting race on our hands, if it rains, okay, it's raining. Okay, we're not going to race.
Nah, we're going to wait until it's dry. And then we're going to do a rolling start just to make it even shitter for you.
It baffles me. Guys, let us know what your thoughts. Were you as perplexed as we were, or did you think it was the right thing? Do let us know. Comment down below.
Yeah, because if I had to sum up Monaco, and I know we're actually going to like talk about the race now, it would be eventful but still boring.
Yeah. That was the only exciting bit when you had the opportunity for them to start racing. But let's get into it, okay? So after the red flag, this makes me laugh because it's just a complete joke. On the formation lap for the second time, you in the space of 2 corners, you saw Latifi go straight on into a wall.
The Chuckle Brothers.
And you saw Lance Stroll crash and get a rear puncher, I think it was. Let's start off with Latifi. Latifi was like, you know, we've discussed this on the past. If you've watched a lot of these, you know that actually his excuses get better and better. I don't know what happened. I couldn't turn there, man.
The car didn't turn. Really?
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it because that would suggest either there's something wrong with the axle or the steering.
It was still turning all the other times.
Yeah, how come every other corner it turned? Okay, I know it was wet, but...
No.
Nah.
There's no excuse for this.
I'm not buying it.
We backed him earlier on. This one is all on you, Latifi. It was shocking.
Yes.
And Stroll, how can you bash into when you're going literally like 20 miles per hour?
That was the funniest part. It's like, oh, they're behind the safety car. So, you know, like, think, all right, the FIA, like, we'll send them out behind the safety car. They'll be all right. Not Latifi and Stroll, mate. They are never safe. Fuck me. I literally pissed myself. I was like, no fucking way.
The barriers think they're safe.
Not when those two are on the track.
Exactly. It just makes me laugh. Crofty was like, they're both Canadians are in the barriers on this lap, and I was just like, what do you expect, man? Like, this is the same shit week in, week out.
Yeah. No, it is. I wouldn't have expected any less.
No, it just made me chuckle. So it was interesting. Strategy was very key initially in this race, whether people were going to come in for inters, whether wets were not good enough, whether they're going to come in for inters, whether they're going to come in for hards. Gasly was pretty much the first person to come in on hards.
And initially...
Inters,
yeah. Initially, it didn't look like the worst call, but it also didn't look like the best call. Until 2 or 3 laps in,
it started to work. Can I just say, Sky Sports, you know, I love your coverage, but I'm really confused in what you think fans are wanting to watch, because the first 18 laps pretty much, I just watched Gasly behind Zhou. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that.
And don't get me wrong, it was quality. He made a few good overtakes.
He did, yeah. Give him his due.
Around,
he did.
Around a track that is notoriously hard to overtake on. But yeah, they've had some questionable broadcasting this year. It sounds like we fucking hate everyone on this podcast.
No, but we don't.
We just slate everyone. But no, I think there was like
Hatecast. That's what.
But like we spoke about it last week, where we literally did not see anything of Lewis Hamilton until he was in like sixth. It's like he had made like 10 overtakes,
no one's
and we saw none of him. And then we did watch Gasly for a long time. I think I kind of understand it because he was so much quicker at that point.
Yeah, but he was literally stuck behind Zhou.
Yeah,
That's all you saw.
It got boring.
Yeah,
it did.
I
think they need to be. I think they just need to show a bit more.
But don't you think we've gone from one extreme to the other? Like for years, we've literally just watched Hamilton go around. That's all we see.
Yeah.
And now we're literally don't even see any of the front grid, and we're literally picking up like.
Yeah, didn't really see much of that front lot until the end of the race, like
5-10 minutes of it. Yeah,
when they got really close to each other.
Yeah, but no, I mean it was a whole. Gasly did all right.
And I love the fact that we're seeing different parts of the grid.
No,
because I definitely think for a while we haven't seen enough of what's going on.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good. But for Monaco, there was closer racing than just Gasly and Zhou.
Yeah.
So talking about FIA, talking about pointless decisions, which I don't quite understand. Let's talk about Ocon. He had Hamilton behind him, crashed into, cut across, took a bit of his front wing off. That was fine. Hamilton was like, he just cut in front of me. Why is nothing happening? It wasn't until after the red flag later on that they decided to give him a 5-second penalty.
Took them
I
so
get
long.
it, but don't you think that partly ruined Hamilton's race? If they had turned around and gone, actually, no, right, you got 5-second penalty, now, that might have played differently. But it's kind of like, we're not going to make that decision for another hour later.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it ruined Hamilton's race.
No, but what I mean is they, Alpine might have said, okay, well, there's no point ruining the tyres here. Let him pass because he's going to get past you anyway. Do you know what I mean?
But Alpine had some funny tactics this weekend. Yeah. I mean, I thought, I don't know, at the time, being a Hamilton fan, I wasn't very happy.
No, I was a bit like
that his wing had been hit. I then, after seeing the replays, I couldn't make my mind up whether I thought he had weaved a bit and he shut the door a bit too aggressively on Lewis, or if I thought actually Lewis tried to make a move that wasn't there.
I personally, and for you guys, you might be a bit shocked with this, I thought it was quite harsh on Ocon. I don't think he deserved a 5-second penalty.
That is what I was thinking.
It's a racing incident, in my opinion.
Lewis went to go for the move. I think
prematurely. He went to go. He kind of tried to back out of it. He got caught by Ocon. I don't think it was a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, I do just think it looked like a coming together.
Yeah, I wasn't
in my opinion, and that did ruin Ocon's race.
Yeah. Let's talk about the controversial bit for Leclerc. I really felt sorry for Leclerc this weekend. I was really hoping he was going to get that win.
The Monaco curse continues for him. Fair enough, he got his first finish.
Yeah, but still.
But he should have now won 2 Monaco Grand Prix consecutively. His hometown. It is mental, but what the actual fuck were Ferrari thinking?
So again, for you guys who didn't know, so they brought him in for Inters. That brought him out into second, I think it was, behind Perez.
I think he was.
Because it was third because Sainz was still there. Sainz then said he wanted to stay out.
Oh yeah.
For a longer stint to try and get onto the hards because he felt like he was going that way. Very good shout, by the way. That really helped him.
Yeah, he was currently on the wets. Wasn't he was,
yeah. So they brought him in. Then they brought Sainz in on hards. And then Leclerc was on his way round, and they went box. And then all of a sudden he turned into the pits and they went, no, stay out. And all you hear on the radio was, beep, beep, beep. Oh, what are you doing?
Have you heard the uncensored version?
Yeah.
Quality.
So basically they just stacked both of them, which lost Leclerc a hell of a lot of time, which then meant Perez went past, Sainz came out in second, Verstappen was third, and Leclerc was back down in fourth, which
I mean, it completely ruined his race.
He was livid, and it's the first time this season
We've seen him lose his shit.
compared to like when you look at Spain when he retired. He was like, "No, it's all good. We'll bounce back from this." He did very well yesterday to not really go in on his team. I know he said, we've got to learn better. We've got to be better. But he had, in his post-race interview, he could have literally absolutely slated him. And I guarantee you, if that was Max or someone, they would have slated him. Or even Lewis would have slated the team.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got to. When the team make a mistake, you're allowed to be like, nah, this is on them. Like, because it's the team that have to, like, fix up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think drivers should be allowed to publicly criticize their teams. I know, which might sound a bit contradicting after we said about the Latifi radio incident, but that's disrespectful. That's different. Don't come out and disrespect your team, but come out and criticize them if they've performed badly.
Yeah.
And again, like you say, that's a team. If you come out and single out one individual, that's a very different thing, because
if you're doing it as a collective, team collective, then you can say we got to be better. We weren't good enough.
But I really didn't understand it. I mean, he was coming in, and I was like, he's gonna lose. He's lost the lead.
You're basically giving him 2 pit stops in the space of like 10 laps. It's there's no logic in it.
Yeah, like it was obvious that, wasn't it? I mean, wasn't it just worth staying out on the inters and just running them down to slick? Like, because because we know how hard it is to overtake there. Think, fuck it, okay, we've made a bad strategy call. Okay, going out on the inters. Maybe at the time it was right to go on the inters.
Yeah.
But Sainz wanted to stay out on the wet. And
great shout, really great shout by him.
So surely, if they've done it, they've sent him out on the inters, they need to just be like, mate, you're going to have someone on your ass very soon.
Yeah.
But just, park the bus.
It was just really baffling to me because
Yeah.
I had to question myself. I was like, I thought Leclerc's pitted because it was so quick after him being on inters.
Oh, yeah. No,
I was just like,
mental.
I swear he pitted. I was like, what's going on
And
here?
it ruined his race.
Yeah. But Red Bull, again, awesome strategy. To be fair, the overcut worked a treat.
Yeah.
Which is quite
but
rare to say.
But there was who was it? Both the Williams sort of screwed the Ferraris.
Yeah, I mean,
On Sainz outlap,
yeah,
Latifi, just as Sainz was leaving the pits, Latifi just decided to drive past him.
yeah.
And it's like, mate, what's the point? Like, that you're going to get blue flagged in about 4 seconds. Just like, you can see who it is. Just let him go. That slows Sainz down a lot on that outlap.
This is mental. Okay, so Leclerc pitted on lap 18. What lap do you think he pitted his second pit?
I think 21.
21. Mental. What's the point of being out for 3 laps?
So, like, 3 laps, you've just lost, 35 seconds-ish?
Yeah. Because Max Verstappen pitted on 18 as well. And then when did Perez pitted on lap 22? And then, Max pitted again on lap 22 as well. That was interesting. But by that time, I think Leclerc had kind of...
Well,
because the overcut had worked a treat by that point.
And because he's out laps.
Yeah.
That Sainz could have gone first if he didn't get held up by Latifi. And then the Albon one, like I said earlier, that just took the fucking piss, man.
Do you think Sainz would have got past Perez, though?
From what I've read online, the Williams were 4 seconds slower.
Or per lap?
Than the front runners. So, okay, I mean, Leclerc was stuck behind Albon for... he probably lost like 3 or 4 seconds on that lap. Sainz probably lost a second, maybe. I can't remember where they came out, but I think it would have been very close.
Oh, I agree with you. Can you just hold this? I just want to take my jumper off. I'm well hot.
Oh.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Should we continue?
Oh. So we just paused to allow Matt to take the jumper off. And he's dressed like a twat.
This is a better than reaction than I thought it was going to be. It's a bit dirty. I don't know what happened there.
In a Real Madrid shirt.
If you don't know, Luke's a Liverpool fan. Liverpool lost. I thought I'd do this. I said this on the Insta Live yesterday, and people were like, "No, you got to do it. You've got to do it." Does it upset you?
It just winds me up. We were so much better than them.
I feel like you want to walk away now, like halfway through, you just finished. Anyway, let's continue. So Schumacher crash.
Are we not? I feel like this Albon point is not getting stressed enough.
Okay.
He got blue flagged 16 times, and he didn't let Leclerc pass, right? Albon, former Red Bull driver, he's been released from his contract. He's still got Red Bull on his fucking helmet while sitting in a Mercedes-powered vehicle. And he's just held up the title contender.
What, so you think he did it deliberately?
Mate,
No, not Albon. Albon's a ledge. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't play into their games.
16 blue flags.
Yeah, but it's only he wanted to go for 17th.
Like that, they're taking the piss.
That is poor.
And it's not like he had Valtteri Bottas behind him in an Alfa Romeo, and that's not slander. That's just saying, the Alfa Romeos are not title contenders. They're not rapid cars. Latifi would have seen that he had Leclerc right behind him, or at least one of the Ferraris, and been like, well, I'm obviously, A, I'm getting blue flagged. I have to move out of the way.
Do you think
B, I should move out of the way. He didn't see. It's his job to see.
That's too much spray in the face.
That is... No, I think that is shameful and...
But this goes back to the shocking decisions.
Yeah, and then
race directors.
No penalty, but look, at the end of the day, from Leclerc's point of view, what's a penalty to Albon going to do anyway? He don't give a shit about Albon.
What's he going to do? To get demoted like 5 places to even more back of the
Yeah,
grid?
like... So it needed to be...
It needed to be done sooner.
Wait, Albon just needed to move.
Yeah.
I thought that was disgraceful, if I'm honest. And that's a strong word.
Can we continue from the Albon, or do you want to
Yeah,
say any more?
yeah, move on. But let me know what you think. I mean, there is a part of me that thinks, well, it must have been done on purpose.
Yeah.
You don't miss 16 blue flags while you've got a Ferrari on your tail. You can see it in your mirrors. That to me is all he's thinking is
Red Bull. Yeah, could be. The Schumacher crash.
Yeah, man, he's had some nasty old crashes.
I mean, if you don't know, in Jeddah, he cost the team $1 million in repairs.
Just cost him
and he looks like he's cost him another $1 million in repairs for this car. I mean, I'm really, really trying to give Mick the benefit of the doubt. I really am. He's like 28 races in now, scored no points. He's in a Haas where Magnussen is actually getting points.
Yeah, that Haas is competitive,
Yeah.
and I don't obviously don't mean for the front, but it's competitive for points, for sure.
And
You can't have Albon getting points in that Williams,
no.
and Mick Schumacher in the Haas not getting points. Mick and Latifi are the only person without points.
And Hulkenberg.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, I
Hulkenberg,
mean, on a whole, those three don't have any points, and we've discussed him a lot on this. And actually, we've had quite a lot of stick for saying he could potentially lose his seat. But if you've cost the team in this last 4 races or so almost $2 million, which is increased in your cap. Your budget cap.
Yeah, this is taken away from that money they can spend on development and stuff.
How long do you give a driver who isn't performing? I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I know they'll stick with him to the end of the season. I get that, but he's just not performing at all.
Yeah, and you can't just keep a driver on because he's got the surname Schumacher.
No.
I really hope he turns it around. I think he seems like a quality guy. He's clearly shown that he's got the talent.
I think we're both in the agreement that we want him to do well. We like him.
100%.
We really want him to do well.
I want to see him succeed. But right now, if I am Gunther, I'm going to be looking at that thinking...
Fuck, smash door.
Yeah, like, 2 murked cars, and we're like, what are we? We're not even a third of the way through the season. No points.
No.
Where, if... how many has K-Mag scored now?
15.
15. That's a lot of points for a team that A, scored no points last season, and B, that are a team that are competing to push up that midfield. Yeah. That is a lot of points.
Well, it's interesting. Let's quickly touch on the constructors because a few races ago, Haas were like 5th, 6th.
Yeah.
They're now 3rd from bottom.
Yeah, well, I mean...
No, they're 7th in that. Aston Martin have got 7 points. Williams have even got 3 points.
Williams are last.
Williams are last.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They still got 3 points, and they're in a shitter car than that Haas.
Yeah, so, Schumacher's costing the team. Because he could, even if he had picked up 7 or 8 points, where does that put them? If now they're on 23 points.
So that would put them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6th.
Yeah.
So that's the place.
And then bear in mind that other teams would have had to have not got as many points if Mick had 1 point. So it could have even moved them up to 5th.
Let's put it into context. Just think how bad this AlphaTauri is this year. AlphaTauri have 2 more points in them than that Haas.
Yeah, and that Haas, we said it looks like a good car.
That Haas is quick.
Yeah, and that AlphaTauri does stink a little.
I love the fact yesterday that when Mick crashed, there was a shot of Magnussen because he had retired.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Crofty was like, I'm a bit confused. I didn't even know Magnussen had...
Yeah, to be fair, that was the first we had heard of it.
And he was like, next thing you know, he's like looking, how is he out of the car?
Yeah.
Crofty was so confused. I loved it. They end up putting a red flag, but just touching on Schumacher, he needs to start turning it around. Otherwise, I do fear for him. I really do fear for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know you wanted to talk about Danny Rick, and I know we have spoken about him before, but I think there does seem to be more and more to talk about him each week.
Yeah.
Because I think we've now got 3 drivers at risk.
Latifi, Danny Rick, Mick Schumacher.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think all rightly so.
We'll touch on Danny Rick because stay tuned for this because I've got some really good talking points and I really want to hear your opinion on this. Okay, so red flag, lap 30 to repair barriers. By this point, we knew we weren't going to complete the full race of the 77 laps.
I'm not gonna lie, I quite like the
countdown.
Yeah,
it was quite. It made it quite interesting,
cool.
didn't it?
Yeah.
When the restart happened, the others just went flying off. Alonso. Alonso was very happy with P7. Of course he was. He had a freaking it was like the M25 behind him.
If you are watching on YouTube, can we throw up a little picture of the little track map where they've got the cars on there? Can we just throw up a picture just to... Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
I'll show you it after this.
You got to send it to Dan.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's up on the screen for you guys right now. Look at that. That is insane. And if you're listening, basically 6 of the cars are just in a completely different part of the track. And then all the other cars are bunched up the other side of the track.
This
behind Alonso.
This really pinpointed why Monaco is a pointless track. It was this part which we're about to talk about was really evident on why it's such a boring track because Ferraris went off, Lando went off, George went off, and then Alonso was being chased down by Hamilton, absolutely fine. Hamilton couldn't get past because there's no overtaking on there. I know Gasly overtaken, there's certain areas. But
Gasly had the advantage of the tyres.
Alonso
not
was
to
just
take anything away from it.
Alonso was just placing his car perfectly. And Alpine came through. this is what we're going for, P7. So just try and keep
Yeah, and
out.
I think Alonso was purposely going slow.
Oh, without a doubt, 3 to 4 seconds a lap, they were losing.
But he compromised Ocon's race.
Yeah, because he ended up pushing him back and out of the points. Yeah.
Ocon had the 5-second penalty. Alonso went so slow, and then obviously Lewis couldn't overtake him. So then I think also maybe the plan was, well, Ocon could overtake Lewis.
Yeah.
And then we'll just drive off. I mean, that was never going to happen. If Lewis can't overtake Alonso, Ocon's not going to overtake Lewis. No. But then what I did love is they were like, yeah, Alonso, Fernando, you're going to need to speed this up a little bit, because Bottas, Vettel were all catching Ocon. And then Lewis just parked it just started. He slowed it down, and that obviously kept the others close to Ocon. So Ocon then was out of the points. Obviously, Lewis was probably a bit. That was
his post race interview was really interesting because did you find it frustrating? Lewis was like, no, I knew I wasn't getting past him, so it's just I knew where I was. Just raced it around like.
It's just Monaco, isn't it? And that's the thing. But come on, that is not what we want. We don't want drivers being like, no, that's just what position I was in, so that's where I'm going to finish.
What does that show you as a team? And guys, comment and let me know if you think I'm right here. What does that tell you about a team that are happy to compromise another team's race and just basically, block them the whole race? That's basically what he did. Good. He was 3 seconds a lap slower each time. You're not even racing to try and catch up with Norris.
What's the penalty for cutting that corner? The corner. You come out the tunnel, go straight.
Yeah, I don't think there is, because that
there would be if
you did it every time.
If you gain an advantage.
Yeah.
Because why? If I was Lewis, say it was a 5-second penalty, even a 10-second penalty,
I'll just go straight over.
Fuck it, go straight over. Leave Alonso for dust, because you know that you're going to be a lot quicker with him. Catch up with Lando. There, you probably won't overtake Lando, because if you can't overtake the Alpine, okay, you suffer a 10-second penalty, but
you can get
probably gained a position.
Yeah. No, good point.
And worst case scenario, maybe he, even with the penalty, ends up staying in the same position. But at least give yourself the opportunity.
Next time, message Bono. Next time.
Yeah, I mean, and if you know the rules, I don't really know what the penalties are. To be honest, fucking nobody does, do they?
No,
but
they make up the rules.
I'd just be quite interested to know.
You got a 1-minute penalty. What the fuck?
Finishes last. But that's what was just cropping up in my mind.
I know we've been talking a while, but let's quickly just finish on the race. Perez, I am delighted.
58 minutes.
I'm delighted for Perez. Absolutely delighted. Yeah. Most successful Mexican driver. Now, I like Perez, and he fully deserved it.
Wasn't that hard, really?
No, but I can't remember the name of the other driver who he overtook yesterday.
3 wins, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm delighted for him.
No, and it was cool. He just kept his head down, did what he needed to do. And it was nice, particularly after last week, where he obviously suffered from the strategy of the team and team orders. So it was nice to see him.
I would have been interested to see if Verstappen was behind him, to see what they had done. But that would be really harsh to take away a Monaco win because it's prestigious.
I mean, I'm sorry, if you're Sergio, you're not moving out of the way.
No, I wouldn't have done.
I'd be like, fuck off.
So let's quickly touch on the driver standards. Verstappen, stand-ins.
Oh.
Stop trying to catch me out.
It sounded like you said standards.
Stand-ins. Verstappen, 125 points. He's now 9 points clear of Leclerc with 116. Perez has moved up to 110. He's definitely a title contender, isn't he?
He's got to be.
You've got to give him
15 points off.
You've got to give him the opportunity. If you're Red Bull, you've got to give Perez the opportunity, because this is his perfect opportunity. If he's ever going to win anything, this is it.
Now I'll tell you what. I would not be unhappy seeing Sergio Perez win the championship.
No. Oh, not in the slightest. I give me Perez any day, any season over Max.
100%. Max is the one person I don't want to win the championship.
No, not in the slightest.
And Stroll, but there's no chance that's going to happen.
Russell is up into 4th with 84 points, followed by Sainz with 83. Hamilton is down in with 50 points in 6th.
It's looking rough for Lewis. It's looking quality for George. I'm not going to lie. George is still a title contender.
Yeah.
If
they turn it around.
Mercedes do continue to push this car forward, his consistency in these early races may well benefit him.
Yeah.
Because I know it's quite hard. If Leclerc and Max are coming second and third, winning obviously only gets you like a 7 point advantage to second place.
Yeah.
So to catch up like 50 points is quite hard.
It's hard, yeah.
But all it takes is for a couple of retirements.
Then you're done.
Yeah. So the consistency could benefit him towards the last stages of the season if Mercedes do manage to get that car up the front.
No, I agree. Would you like to know the constructors? So Red Bull have taken quite a good lead now with their 235 points already. Ferrari are down in second with 199. Mercedes are 101 points behind with 134. It's looking good for Red Bull, isn't it?
Yeah.
But saying that, Ferrari is still obviously definitely there because it's only, 36 points behind, and that's only, 1 or 2 races, isn't it?
Yeah, and I still, Leclerc was, Max has been unlucky as well, but yeah, it just goes to show how quickly it can all change.
Yeah.
So Red Bull are currently the front runners. In 10 races' time,
who knows where
McLaren might be in the mix.
I very much doubt that.
Hey, you never know.
Never know. Right, should we get on to what others have been waiting for? The main topic, Danny Rick.
So you want to talk Danny Rick and then fan questions?
Yeah.
And then we're calling it a day.
Calling it a day. Going to go home, sleep. Let's talk about Danny Rick. So Norris is currently responsible, right? This is a little quiz for you. Norris is currently responsible for how many percentage of McLaren's points so far this season? So if you think about it, McLaren have 59 points. How much of that percentage-wise is down to Norris?
87%.
81.3%.
I was going to say 81.
That's mad.
That
That is a
is.
hell of a lot.
Especially for, Danny Rick is their experienced driver.
Yep.
Done this a lot today. Don't know what that is. You're doing these fucking little air quotes. Quite weird.
Why do you keep doing air
I
quotes?
don't know. Yeah, but Danny Rick can't be happy with that.
Well, I don't think he can.
Why is he always smiling?
I don't know. I think for the first time this weekend, you kind of saw him actually quite down.
Well, because there was... Did you see the...
Zach Brown comment?
Yeah.
So Zach Brown came out this weekend and he's basically said, actually, there is a bit in the contract that can mean that the team can cut ties with him at the end of the season. He's got a contract up until 2023, but McLaren do have it in their contract. They can cut the ties. In my opinion, I would cut the ties now.
100%. I mean, but Danny Rick came out and said, no, I'm contracted here until the end of 2023.
Yeah, I definitely think there's things in that contract that Zach Brown wouldn't come out and just be like quite blasé about it if there wasn't something in that contract could say, oh, Danny Rick, we can actually get rid of him at the end of 2022.
It seems to me like there's a bit of friction.
It's getting there now, isn't it?
There were other comments. Have we got them?
I haven't seen them, no.
Oh.
That's good.
What were they? I can't remember. There were other comments made. It was essentially Zach Brown saying that Danny Rick's obviously not performing well enough.
Oh, yeah, but I can tell you that.
It's
doesn't take rocket science to go, oh, yeah, Danny
No, I
Rick's not
know, but it's the
performing well.
first time we've heard it come from the team principal.
Yeah, true. And I think cracks are starting to show. And it's quite interesting. We put a post out just literally before we started recording about is Danny Rick overrated? And we did a TikTok and it's up on Instagram Live as well, Instagram Reel. And one of the comments here, and we spoke about this before, wasn't it? And she says, well, it pains me to say, but he has nothing to defend himself with. He is my favourite driver, but when your teammate is that sick and is way better than you in the same frigging car, it's devastating to watch. I caught myself skipping his after race interviews so I don't hear, well, it's not the weekend we hoped for, expected. I wish him super well, but it doesn't look good. Still hoping for his comeback though, because best personality won't keep you in F1. I think that comment alone nails Danny Rick.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it is.
Can't just keep the seat by being the nice, funny guy.
No. And at the moment, I think that's kind of kept him in there for a while. You got some comments, haven't you, from TikTok? I sent you the comments.
What other people were saying?
What other people said. And it's actually quite interesting because a lot of people who initially were like, no, we're talking crap, and were saying, oh, you're idiots, you Drive to Survive fans, are now starting to agree with these two losers, aren't they?
Yeah, it's nice that the people that I said this, right, and I might have talked a bit of shit about you TikTok lot, but I like conversation if you disagree with
What did you call them? Nerds? No.
I don't know, neeks, nerds, geeks, dorks.
Dogs.
They're everything. But if you engage with our content in a way that is intelligent and isn't just be like, you're fucking dumb. Like, send us a reply to it disagreeing with us. That's fine. I don't expect us to be agreed with. But we like the debate. So if you do disagree with us, please tell us and give us your opinion. And then we'll go through these comments and we'll talk about it on here.
But we never say that we are always right. It's our opinion. So this is what like you say, I love the interaction we have with you. With that amazing.
Yeah, I mean, even when you do send the cunty comments, I've endured them through waffling, and I think they're funny. But in terms of content, at least be partially intelligent and try and give us something to engage with,
and not just say that you're two idiots, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, well if that's the case, give us a rationale for it.
But people are saying, if he stayed at Red Bull, he would have been binned off pretty quickly.
Yeah, valid.
And they're actually saying that he knew it. He knew that
he wasn't good enough.
Yeah, and that's partially true. I mean, I wonder if he's got a bit of PTSD from this whole Max thing, and now he was probably thinking right, I know he went to Renault first, but even at Renault he had Sainz as his teammate, didn't he? So he was probably go there, I'll be the big dog. I don't know what the point. Can we look at that season? Can you pull that up quickly? I can't remember who finished ahead, but if he went there and Sainz finished ahead of him, and then obviously he dipped to McLaren, and now you've got Danny Rick, the experienced driver, the big dog, up against Lando, the young driver, and then Lando schools him. I mean, this has got to be toying with his mind.
I'm just trying to
Be 2020, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I know, to be fair, he was there before, but that's the season, I think. No, 2020 Sainz was at McLaren.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Sainz. Let me F1 2020 standings.
Sainz was at Renault, though.
He was at one point. So Danny Rick actually was in 5th in 2022. So it
2022?
2020, sorry. So it's Hamilton, Bottas, Max, Perez, Ricciardo. And the other person in that Renault was Ocon. That's right,
yeah,
Ocon,
of course.
So that's not that bad. He had a reasonably good in 2000, give him his due. 2019, where was he? Danny Rick was in 9th. And
Who was his teammate?
His teammate was Hulkenberg.
Of course, yeah. Who finished ahead?
Danny Rick.
Okay.
But that's not saying a lot, isn't it? It's Hulkenberg. And then, in 2018, he was obviously with Red Bull. But he was...
Wait, so I swear Sainz drove for Renault.
He did. He drove in 2018. His partner was Nick Hulkenberg.
Oh.
Yeah, he definitely drove, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But yeah, okay, well, he's had it at Red Bull where the young gun comes in.
Yeah.
And outperforms him. And then, I mean, yeah, he knew Max was better, basically. And now Lando is doing it, and like it's not even close. You know, it's not like, say like Lewis and George this season, where like Lewis is still pulling points in and whatnot. There's a huge gap between them to the point where it is kind of embarrassing.
Oh, it's awful.
Like,
it's awful. If you're him, I would be embarrassed.
like, especially when Lando lapped him at Monaco last season.
That was a low point, wasn't it?
That, you know, that you would be. I'd be mortified, mate.
Read some of the other comments about it.
Well, he was, but because obviously we spoke about him saying that leaving Red Bull was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
Someone was saying, but Renault were improving at the time and have just since stagnated. I think there's improving, and then there's
not.
You know, you're at Red Bull, like
you're at one of the top teams.
Yeah. Someone actually low key comes for him here. It's not even low key. DR is not a serious driver. He's really quite silly. No credibility. A liability to sponsors and the team. He has zero focus and output.
That's deep.
That is harsh.
That is for us. That is actually harsh.
A liability to the sponsors. I mean, yeah,
sponsors will love him though because of how his character is.
That's the thing, and he's still got a huge following.
Yeah. I think that's a tad too harsh. I wouldn't have even said that.
Yeah, you would have about Latifi though. You've really,
whoa! This isn't just me. Okay, you are the same here with Latifi.
No, I think he's a nice guy, good driver. But what I am going to do right now is move on to fan questions to wrap up the show. Unless you've got anything else to say on Danny Rick.
No. Comment down below. Is Danny Rick finished? Yes or no? Let us know.
And if you are listening and you can't comment down below, send us a DM on Instagram. Why do we only follow 6 people now?
I don't know.
Did you unfollow all the teams?
I might have done.
Why'd you do that?
I know, because I was trying to reorganise it and I didn't follow them back.
Reorganise it?
Well, no. Yeah, just move on anyway.
Right, anyway.
Look, this guy does nothing on social medias and then he gives me the shit if something's not right.
Yeah, so if you do want to get involved in these questions that we answer every single week, all you have to do is follow us on Instagram at Racecast Insta.
Solid questions, by the way.
Yeah, we do like it, like when you send in good questions, and 99% of them are quality questions that get us thinking. That's a sign of a good question.
Hit me.
I think you're going to ask me this week.
No, I asked you last week.
Oh, I don't want to do this.
Okay. I can't read. Oh, come on. Let me ask you.
No.
If you're going to cry about it.
In which order will Perez, Sainz, and Russell finish the championship? So let's just say don't worry about where they're going to finish, but
in the order of who's going to be. So it will be Perez, Sainz, Russell. No. I'm going to change my mind. Perez, Russell, Sainz.
Okay, so you're assuming that Merc are going to pick up a bit.
I think they're going to pick up. They've shown glimpses. Their pace actually wasn't as bad yesterday in the Monaco Grand Prix.
No, race pace always better than
qualifying.
Yeah. So we're assuming that George's consistency is going to continue.
Yeah.
Sainz,
I think he's prone to making mistakes. He had a great race yesterday, finished second, but you can never know with Sainz.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, well this is quite topical. If Ricciardo was to leave F1, who would you replace him with?
Easy. Gasly. I want to see Gasly and Norris.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Gasly's a young driver.
He is a young driver, and okay, he's having a tough time at AlphaTauri at the moment, but I think he has a lot to offer, and he's shown over the years, and I think he's fully deserved his opportunity at another top team. And I do say McLaren are a top team. I think they're definitely around there, and they will get better.
Yeah, no, Gasly definitely deserves it. And the thing is, I can't see him go in. He won't go to Red Bull because I don't think they'll get rid of Checo this season. Max is obviously not going anywhere. So I think he's going to cut his ties there. Mercedes have got Lewis and George.
Yeah.
Ferrari, Carlos and Charles.
Who would you pick?
I really like the Gasly shout. I think that's quality. The only one, I mean, you'd really look at, I mean, you'd have to start looking to some of the F2 boys.
Yeah.
The Ruvlers having a quality season.
Yeah.
Teo Pourchaire. Piastri, who obviously currently isn't racing.
I've got one shout. What would you say about Albon?
Yeah.
He's not, granted, last couple of races have been quite poor. He has shown he has the potential in that Williams.
Yeah. That's actually quite an interesting shout. I quite like that. We also know that Albon and... I think it's a big thing when you see a team working as a team.
Team chemistry is key.
Albon and Norris are good friends.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I quite like that shout. I just think Gasly's more deserving of it.
I 100%
at
agree
the moment.
with you, 100%.
So I'd like to see Gasly get it, but if I'm in charge of McLaren, I would actually be seriously considering the Albon thing. So very, very good shout from you. Who would you have, you listeners? Comment down below.
This is the most work Luke's had to do on a podcast before by having to read out
It
questions
is,
to me.
can you hear my voice is like going?
Yeah.
So much talking. This is a strange one because I don't really understand it. Do you think Toto has lost control of Mercedes as a team?
Well, that's pretty simple. No, because I think what they're trying to... Because Mercedes aren't doing as well this year and performing as well, he thinks that actually he's lost control of it.
Yeah,
I don't think he's lost control of it. I think they had a very tough end to the season last year. It took a lot out of the team. And, other teams, it was a long season. It was a tough season for them. Their preparation for this year's car hasn't been good enough. And I think they underestimated the amount of challenges they were going to face, which has kind of resulted in them being on the back foot. And I think that's something which has affected him a lot. However, I think he's made some very good decisions. I think as a team-wise, they're showing progression. He's really supportive for George. I think what he's shown with that decision for George last year is paid off because George has had a fantastic start to the season. And no, I think on a whole, I think Toto hasn't lost control. If anything, I think he's continuing now to build for the future.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that. I mean, it's easy to start pointing the finger at people when things aren't going perfectly, but for the last 8 years, he's guided them to a Constructors' Championship.
And that takes a lot of... That is a lot of work to do, to be that successful for that amount of time in a sport which is so demanding, challenging.
No team's ever done it.
No, but that's what I mean. So you can't expect... And it's the same for Hamilton. You can't expect them to be always at the top. And this whole transition into these new cars is tough. I guarantee you, if it was the same cars as last year, Mercedes would be there. They'd be up the top.
Yeah, and Lewis would probably be winning most races.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Along
However,
Verstappen probably.
This is all news for everyone, so they've had to go through a whole different
I was reading
transition.
The other day a little interview with Toto Wolff, and he said that he wouldn't tell Lewis to move out the way for George.
No, which is good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think good luck telling a 7-time world champion to move out the way for anyone.
Because he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'd be on that radio saying, no.
Nope.
And I don't blame him. And I also don't think George should move out the way for Lewis.
No, I completely agree. I think it's got to be fair, and I think Mercedes are doing the right thing.
Yeah. So all of the questions are so good that they're actually all related to what we've already about today, and I'm not even kidding. Why did we not see Verstappen at his best?
I think we touched on that earlier. I think it's you're going to see him not perform.
Thoughts on Gasly this season? We've already said AlphaTauri having a rough old season.
Very rough. However, Tsunoda, shout out to you. You're doing all right.
Has he got more points than Gasly?
I think he has. Please hold cooler.
Do you think Perez now has to be a real title contender? We've already
100%. He needs to.
But this is how we know we're getting good questions. Because if we've spoken about it,
then we know.
Then it's got to be good, right?
So Tsunoda is on 11 points and Gasly is on 6.
Yeah. Well, quality.
Yeah.
From Tsunoda, who we said is really going to have to up his game after a turbulent previous season.
And he's done that. Props. He was 11th. He was P11 in qualifying in Monaco.
Yeah.
It's good. No, I think on a whole, your questions are brilliant. And I think it's great for us. And I think, hopefully you're enjoying the podcast. I think that is it, isn't it? We've been speaking.
We are done.
An hour and 20 minutes. I feel sorry for Dan now that he has to edit this. Sorry, Dan. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening, watching. Comment down below. Keep checking us out on all social media. We've got TikTok, we've got Instagram. We're more active on Twitter now. Did you notice yesterday? There's a lot on Twitter, wasn't there?
Did. Give me the login. I'll do some tweets.
All right. So yeah, check us all out on those. And yeah, thank you for watching. And we'll be back next Wednesday for a brand new podcast. Bye-bye.